G'day and welcome back to the Bizyranch. Now it's been quite a long time since I made a video, and it's probably like nearly 2 years since I last released a video. Not that I haven't been doing stuff, but I just haven't had the, oomph in me to make the videos. I've still been doing stuff around the property, and I'd like to try and document and keep up to date with what I've been doing. So in this video I'm just going to go around the property and have a look around what's changed and talk about what I've got planned. So let's get into it. So I guess the first thing to see around here is the fruit tree orchard that we've been putting in just in the front yard here. We're trying to plant it all out. Currently I think it's about 14 trees in here. Stone fruit, pomegranate, mulberries, like nectarines and apricots and stuff like that. There's a macadamia tree, a mango tree. We'll have to see how that one goes because it is pretty clayey once you get down. So we'll see if it actually survives. If it does, awesome. The other thing we've been doing is the silver fence. We only just sort of put that up there just as an extra barricade. And the front fence we've ripped down, and halfway through replacing it, new mailbox. It was the old cream pool fencing which was falling apart and pretty degraded. So I've changed a couple of posts. The fence used to come down this way and then back along. But I've replaced those fence posts there, and what I actually did was keep the existing metal posts and use C-channel. I'll move in, I'll show you a bit closer. And I've used like a end-stop C-channel for other sleepers and sort of fixed them to the metal posts, painted them all black, and I've used hardwood sleepers to fit as the railing. And then the mesh on it is black PVC coated chain link mesh, which is just fixed with U-nails. Like that, all along. So it's actually quite sturdy. Can't move it at all. And then new mailbox. And then there's going to be a little pedestrian gate there, and then a double swinging open solar powered electronic gate, because I hated getting up out of the car to open the gate and then have to close it, especially when it's raining and on this hill. So that's a work in progress at the moment. Just need to get some more sleepers. I do have the chain link to put on there when I finish that part, and then just got to figure out how I'm building the gates. But I guess one other massive thing that's changed since last videos was the dogs. So we got Echo here and Luna. So hello Luna. So I did have a dog, a German Shepherd, Rudolph. Unfortunately he passed away last year. Pretty sad, but he did have a good life, 12.5 years, which was really good. And then Echo was just getting a lot of anxiety and sort of lonely. And we found Luna, and so we decided to pick her up. And they've been best friends ever since, pretty much. So that's the front yard. Orchard has all changed. We've just been using mulch from the local tip. It's just free mulch. It's, you know, for what it is, for free, it's actually quite good. And I've just got to build it up and make it a bit thicker so the grass stops growing through. Front garden hasn't had much work to it. That's another project to do, obviously. I've moved all the old sleepers and stuff here. We're probably just going to try and mulch thoroughly throughout it. And then Isabel has planted some plants in the front here, but it's a big job. It's just going to take some time to fill out, and the weeds just are relentless everywhere while there's no mulch and no ground cover. So you can see the plants that Isabel has started putting through the front garden here, the kangaroo paw and stuff like that. So I'm just going to walk down and keep going around, have a look around the property to see what's been happening. So down this area, and the first thing I'm going to step over is this poly pipe here. That's just a temporary position for it. I'll show you where that actually comes from and my idea of what I'm using that for. But this garden here, we use the old sleepers from the front garden, and that's actually geranium I found. It was just one little plant actually I found up in those trees there. And I took the cuttings off it, planted heaps, and they've just flourished throughout it. So the other things we have growing everywhere is tomato plants. Didn't plant these here, however I've just sort of let them go. Free tomatoes while we snack on while we're working through there. and then I'll just pull it out once that plant is finished, and then properly mulch this bed as well. So cut the mandarin tree back quite a fair bit. Got a dragon fruit growing just in a pot here, so that'll be nice. I'm just trying to train it all up, and then I've actually got to fit the top in. So the idea is that they will grow all the way up, and then there'll be a brace at the top, and then they just sort of grow over and then drape all the way down and flower and fruit. So we'll see how that goes. That's a red dragon fruit, that one. Along here, I don't know if I really showed a video on it, but this used to be all rotten logs just laying across here. So I pulled all of them out, and we built this retaining wall just along there to hold it all in, that little garden bed. And then we've put these yuccas and other various plants in here, and they've actually been growing really well. So there's still stuff everywhere. It's pretty much just a constant renovating house and backyard. So there's stuff everywhere until we find our proper place for it all. So as we go through here, plants are looking really nice. It's a much nicer little garden area than it used to be. Another plant here. The steps that Isabel put in herself using the sleepers from the front garden bed, and it actually is not even budged. Super solid. It looks much nicer than it was, and so that's been an addition there. Moving across, so this room here has actually taken up months and months of my time, and one of my hobbies I've actually been getting into quite a lot is freshwater tropical fish keeping and breeding. And I'll make a specific video on detailing this room and what I've been doing to it, because there's quite a fair bit involved in that. So keep an eye out for that video. I'll just give you a quick rundown on the first bit. So these pipes here, pretty much bringing water into the room, and then this one is the water leaving the room, which is that poly pipe I walked over just over there. And the intent is that that water pipe is then going to feed our veggie gardens later on, which is going to be really good fish water from their waste and nitrates that they've put into it, and it's going to be awesome water for the garden. So down here as well, we've got a whole heap of plants growing. Banana tree, which we're going to plant out the front. Some more cuttings and dragon fruits, just because I had them there. Aloe vera, more geraniums, some frangipani cuttings. We're pretty much just using this area to water and look after small little plants. This here is our old shower base, so currently our shower is dismantled and demolished. I didn't intend on pulling it apart already, but the plasterboard had black mold in it. It wasn't wet sealed properly from whoever built the place, so we've actually had to tear it all down, and we're going to have to rebuild the bathroom, but that is another story. So what I've actually used here is we're just sort of sealed up using a pottery pot with silicone around it, and so water will sit in the base of this now and just feed water all up the bottom of the plants. And then we've just got some other plants here that are growing. A lot of these peace lilies that are here actually used to be sitting in my fish tanks and growing without any soil, which is really cool. So I've just sort of brought it all down as I've transitioned out of having fish tanks in the house, and they're all downstairs now. This one here, I think it's like a rabbit's foot or something, hare's foot. It actually looks awesome, looks like spider legs hanging down through the plant. So yeah, just got little rose bushes for Isabel's here, chimenea, and then this pathway is sort of just at a standstill at the moment. I haven't done any with it for ages, but we'll get there eventually with it. So there's a little wind chime that I made Isabel for her birthday. So it actually sounds really nice with a little bit of breeze going. Might make a separate video on that as well, just showing how I made it. I just sort of off the cuff wing it like most of my projects I do, but it turned out pretty good. So the other things that are happening around the yard here is, so these posts I had put in, and we had passion fruit vine. I did have wire going all the way along it, and we had a passion fruit vine growing all the way across it. I did get a whole lot of weight on it though and started bowing in these posts. And so once it all died off, we cut it away, and I just want to reinforce and put bracing across before we plant anything here again. You can see how it pulled the weight in. So the garden, we did have a whole heap of raised garden beds all through here, but with what we're having happen in our personal life, we just couldn't keep up to the maintenance of it, and so it just sort of got left to its devices, overgrown, wasn't getting looked after. I wasn't happy with how much these garden beds were bowing. I really do prefer the shorter garden beds, which we're going to be putting back in when we get to that stage. And I just wasn't really happy with the lay of the land, and I really would like to terrace this area. It's going to be a later job though, so meanwhile we do want to grow some more veggie crops to try and subsidise this crazy priced world we're living in at the moment. And so what we've been doing is just breaking down all the beds. You can see all the old wood that was in the bottom of these beds from using the hugelkultur method, and then we're reusing the soil to just have standard garden beds in the ground. So Isabel's been working on that, which mulched it, and then we'll just continue pulling these beds out and then reusing just the short ones when we terrace this area. So what I'd really like to do is 3 terraced areas, one there, one in the centre, and then the third one down there, and the one in the centre being a greenhouse. So that is a work in progress as well, but we've just got so many projects on the go. That was actually a pool liner. I'll show you in a second. Over there, I had actually dug out a whole area by hand, and we'd put a pool in, but then a tree limb fell down and staked the pool, and then it was getting into winter, so we just sort of let it be at that stage. So that's now just got all garden bed soil underneath it, just to sort of kill the weeds and seeds in it, so we can utilise it somewhere else later. This area here, I've cut back the olive trees heaps just to make it a bit more of a nice area to walk through, and then planted some plants in here, like some cannas, and the dogs are getting through the garden beds. And I want to fill this area out, and then later put like a nice pond in this area here. So that's what I have as a goal for that. We used all these rocks that I found around the yard and sort of made a garden bed, or garden edging for these red robins here. Man, when we first moved in, all these trees were dying so much, and they've just come back and flourished from all this rain we've had. The rain is starting to slow down now. Still green because we had some rain over the last couple of days, but you know, once you stop getting some rain for a couple of weeks, it really does dry up very quickly. So still love the view of this place. One of the main things that really drew us to this property. So this area here, this was the old chicken coop, original chicken coop that we had here. It was just like a 3x3 cage with like a little aviary hut in it with the nesting boxes, and that was when the lamb was all sloped itself. Unfortunately, our first chickens got attacked and eaten by foxes during the night, and we lost all of them. And then I bought a second lot of chickens, the same ones, the Isa Browns, and they dug under. I'll show you the chicken coop that we're using now. They dug under it and got them again, so pretty disheartening. And so here I've really gone through and reinforced the whole coop now to try and protect the chickens that we've got. But anyway, this area here, I actually dug it out all by hand, concreted these posts in. You can see there's a bit of bowing themselves as well, because I had intended on putting the pool in and then decking around the pool, and then obviously the fence to make it nice and safe. But I think since we're going to change that idea now, and maybe try and brace all around the top here, make it a bit of a roof, and then plant creeping wisteria and let it grow and create the top cover there. So not sure yet, but that's the plan for that one. Here is always looking like a massive mess. Boat shed, that's a secondary shed in it, so that's the shed for the shed. Not exactly sure what we're going to be doing with that one yet, so once we have a solid plan of what we are actually happy to do, we'll make a video on that one. Now this one here, this was our old garden shed, and I've pulled everything out. This was actually only recently. This is sort of like chicken coop version 3. That one down there where the original coop was version 1. And then if you look in here, as you can see, there's a roof there. I actually had that walled off with nesting boxes protruding out the back of it. And that was version 2, where the foxes got in and underneath. And now that we've actually bought more chickens, these are Barnevelder chickens, and I'll show you them in a second. I've gone through and actually extended the whole chicken run. So this is actually their coop now. I've cut a hole in the shed so we can lock from the inside as well. I pulled out a sheet from the shed, and then I've fenced and chicken wired this whole area. So I'll go through and have a look at that one. I did pull this area out as well because I was sick of the doors jamming on the dirt and the grass. And then this has actually got chicken wire mesh all underneath it to stop anything from digging up underneath there. So in here, I actually have to make some more nesting boxes and some roosting rails. But this will be all the nesting boxes along there, and then I'll make some roosting rails that go along there too. So it's pretty basic in here, but that's all you really need. It's nice protection from the weather. And I'll actually make a video. I'm going to make different nesting boxes to these ones, and I want to try and make a really easy, affordable and easy to do nesting box. So pull the panel out here. I still have the panel kept if I ever need to just put it back in. And then these are a couple of garden beds we pulled out from the garden across the other side of the yard. And I'm actually going to plant some plants in here just purely for the benefit of the chickens. Maybe some sorghum or tomatoes or both, I'm not sure yet, but just something to grow and let the chickens feast on and not really for ourselves. So in here you can see there's a little Barnevelder chicks. There's some outside at the moment because I've just left the gate open and let them free range. These guys are probably about 8 to 10 weeks old now, so I don't know how many roosters I've got. I have got 20, and I do hope that most of them are hens. So we will see how we go with that one. But these are cool little guys, and they actually lay a dark brown, like chocolate coloured egg, chocolate coloured shell egg. So that's going to be awesome. From everything I've read as well, they're sort of like a dual purpose bird if you're that way inclined. This little guy just jumped up on the tree. People have been known to use them for eggs and also meat birds. So for us, we'll see how we go. I just want to purely use them for egg layers at the moment, and it's just really nice having chickens around. So you can see there's some like dark coloured ones, and there's also a couple of brown ones. I'm not sure how many roosters we've got yet, but this is the chicken run. So originally for version 2, this was the gate here. I can still open it, but I've just put cinder blocks there at the moment to stop any foxes getting in. And then there's one last part just here I have to dig down and put in mesh. So you can see here I've sort of attached extra mesh there, and that then goes down a foot and then wraps back down underneath. So if they try and dig in, they won't be able to get into the actual coop, because there's really been the biggest issue was foxes coming in and unfortunately killing the chickens that we've had. So I really want to look after these guys. They're so cool, and I can't wait to see the coloured eggs that they're laying and how they go. So I've just left the one red robin tree in here just to grow some cover for them. And this is a massive chicken run. So thanks for watching the update. I know it's been a couple of years since I uploaded a video at all, but I'll try and do some more frequent videos just to show what I'm doing, and again for myself track the kind of stuff that I've done to the property and what Isabel's been doing as well. And so thanks very much for watching, and let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like me to touch on or show you what I've been working on. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.